Welcome to myAfrican Affairs. Following the enactment of the anti-homosexuality law in Uganda, the World Bank has suspended further funding, citing human rights violation. The World Bank issued a statement saying further funding will be frozen until authorities in Uganda provide adequate policy to protect the minorities, including the lesbian, bisexual, gay, transgender, and other groups commonly referred to as the LGBTQ+ community. Uganda's Anti-Homosexuality Act fundamentally contradicts with the World Bank Group's values, whose vision is to eradicate poverty on a livable planet, which can only succeed if it includes everyone, irrespective of gender, race, and sexuality. And according to the World Bank, this law undermines such values. In May, President Yoweri Museveni signed the Anti-Homosexuality Act into law. This drew condemnation from right groups and the Western countries such as the US, who threatened sanctions. The US is a key shareholder of the World Bank and has almost always provided its president. However, critics have challenged the new law as it seals any possible protection for minorities. It also provides capital punishment against offenders of the law, including those who transmit terminal illness such as HIV and AIDS through gay sex. Promoters of homosexuality can be jailed for up to 20 years. Ugandan officials on Wednesday lampooned the World Bank and the Western countries for hypocrisy after the global lender suspended lending projects in Uganda. President Yoweri Museveni told off the World Bank and said that Uganda will continue to develop with or without loans. He went further to call on to African leaders to stop exporting raw materials and instead direct investors to process them locally. Uganda, for instance, has stopped exporting raw coffee to boost revenue. Ugandan State Minister for Foreign Affairs Henry Okello said that the move by the World Bank was hypocritical. He said that Western countries were quick to lecture vulnerable countries about democracy, only to turn around and punish them when they do what doesn't suit the interest of Western powers and allied institutions. He said that the law was passed by the Ugandan parliament, by members of parliament who are the representatives of people, and that is democracy. The World Bank's decision comes after the lender had sent a fact-finding mission in Uganda to engage with the government officials and stakeholders to verify the discrimination reports against the LGBTQ persons after the passing of the controversial law in May. The bank's decision to freeze funding was based on the mission's report, which revealed that gay persons and other persons of the LGBTQ continued to be discriminated against and harassed in both public and private institutions due to their sexual orientation. However, Ugandan officials have released statements to dispel real or perceived reports of discrimination against the minority sexual groups. For instance, hours after the World Bank had announced the suspension of new lending to Uganda, the Ministry of Health issued a statement saying that anti-gay law does not target LGBTQ community for discrimination when they seek medical services. In a statement, Dr. Mwebesa, the Director General for Health Services, highlighted the principle that health workers should not stigmatize or discriminate any individual who seeks medical service based on their gender, religion, economic or social status, or their sexual orientation. But Ugandan human rights lawyer Nicholas Opio says that all government agencies need to fall in line. According to him, the press statement by the Ministry of Health was a statement of principle, but actions of other agencies portrays a different intention, and he said that all Ugandans are worthy of protection. Ugandan Ministry of Health is a key recipient of donor funding and aid from the Western powers led by the US, which threatened to stop the aid, including the President Emergency Fund for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. PEPFAR provides $400 million annually to provide access to antiretroviral therapy for the 1.3 million people out of 1.5 million people in Africa living with HIV and AIDS. Officials admit that losing PEPFAR first and now World Bank will stretch the country's purse to finance its priorities, which include infrastructure, health, education, security, energy, among others.